Okay, I give the floor to our coordinator, Kai Hermsen from Twins Foundation, to give a brief overview of the project in general. Kai, the floor is yours. He was here. Kai, can you? Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Okay, he needs to rejoin now. Sorry for this. He will be here in a second.
Hello, now I think you can hear me, right?
Yes, now we can
Excellent.
hear you.
Okay, I cannot turn on my camera because I'm not allowed to. Maybe this is something you could do, and then...
Give me just a second. Unfortunately, no, I cannot do it.
Okay, well... Then without a camera. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our DRG4FOOD webinar, which is on the open calls, obviously. Now, a quick question. When was the last time you took a picture of something you ate? A nice dish or something that you fancied? And when was the last time you sent it to someone? I'm pretty sure not too long ago, because we all tend to do this. At least I'm receiving these pictures every now and then. I'm also frequently taking pictures of the food. Whenever we see something that is very delicious, we tend to do this. Or you see it on social media a lot, obviously. Which means the connection between digital and food is something that we're used to these days and something we do on a frequent basis. Now, in our project, we want to take this a step further. A photo for us is not enough, but we're thinking, how can digital technologies also help to a much greater extent in the food chain to make our nutrition more targeted, to make supply chains more efficient, and by and large, help us gauge even better how food is produced, how we add fairness and sustainability and other tasks. That is exactly what our project is for. To go a bit deeper, the vision and objectives of our project that has started end of last year is the following. This is the team of people you'll see on the left-hand side. So you also get a picture of me. I'm the one standing on the very right-hand side. So that's me. I wave into the camera, even though it's not working. Our vision is to improve nothing less than the quality of life for society and citizens through an open, trustworthy, adaptive, and conscious data approach along the food life cycle, enabling a better sharing and protected use of consumers' food data. That vision is what we formulated at the outset of the project, and you can already read what's important to us. We think it's about citizens and quality of life. To do so, we need technology that's not just functioning, but open, trustworthy, and adaptive. And we would like to apply this to the food life cycle to allow better sharing and protected use of consumers' food data. To do so, we have 5 clear objectives, and we think they are important for you to understand also why we have these open calls and what makes them important in the course of the overall project. First of all, we want to develop a new paradigm for successful data-driven food applications. So it's not enough to just have the data, but we think it's important for the data to be open, user-centric, sovereign, and trustworthy. And that is because we think this generates higher adoption, more fairness, and is more a citizen-based approach. We will develop a roadmap for these new data-driven food systems that is meant to do two things. First of all, provide orientation in the development of these technologies, and second of all, also inform policymakers later down the road when they think about their tools that they apply to the food system, which tend to be sometimes regulation, but also funding and other methods. Then we want to not only talk about it, but actually become actionable and develop this human-centric, decentralized, and trustworthy digital food system with enablers, which we put into a toolbox. I'll speak about this in just a second. We want to demonstrate new services and applications. And finally, and here's the catch, especially for today's call, we will also like to fund 10 third-party pilots through 2 open calls. One of them will be the core content of today's call. And I'm assuming this is also why many of you are here today, because we have these open calls. Now, a bit further background to the project, building on what I've already shown. And I hope you see my slides right. Or do you see the presentation or the cutouts here?
Yes, we can see the presentation.
And the full screen presentation, right?
No, it's not full screen, but it's still visible.
Okay. Oh, no, that wasn't intended to be. Give me a second, then I'll switch to the other screen. See, I thought there's a glitch there. Okay, here we are. Now this should be full screen, right? So in terms of outcomes, this is really in a nutshell. So the project is bigger than that, but in a nutshell, there's 4 things we're doing. First of all, the roadmap to digital responsibility. Remember, I just introduced that. It is meant to both define what technology will look like, but also to inform other stakeholders like policymakers. We will implement and are implementing a digital responsibility framework for food, which we'd like to see reflected in the open call work. And beyond that, we also, as we say, eat our own dog food. So we also apply this within the project. We're trying to use as much as possible technologies that are digitally responsible. And the way we define that is against the digital responsibility goals, or in short, DRGs. And that's where also the name is coming from, DRG4FOOD. Then we apply open calls because we are well aware that it needs others like you here in the call to make this a reality. And then the idea is to feed these resulting enablers also into a curated toolbox for the food system. Now, there might be a question, what do you mean by a toolbox? And that is something that is currently in development, but we already have a good idea. And I'd like to introduce this fellow to you, which some of you might know, at least I know him, but maybe I'm also a bit older, but from back in the days, this was a popular TV show. Tim Taylor, who was the hero of all the do-it-yourself movement, and he was all about tools, right? And that is for a reason, because if you want to build something great, you need the right tools for it to have the right quality and reliability and actually make a difference. And we are well aware that that's the same case also if you want to digitally transform the food system. And that's why we're building a toolbox, not with Binford drilling machines as this one, which actually is quite a nice machine if you look at it. I don't know if this is real or a fake. Looks a bit too massive for me. But we're building a technology-enabled toolbox, which doesn't have physical tools like this drilling machine, but more digital tools that help in the life cycle or as components to actually later down the line solutions. So why are we building this toolbox? In a nutshell, because we think it saves time and effort, hence catering to the very agile modern software development. It allows focus, because then we don't have to reinvent the wheel every time we build something new, but we can focus on the specific aspects to be solved. It supports the entire life cycle, so we're clearly taking a life cycle approach. And it also establishes digitally responsible practices, because for us, cybersecurity and privacy are very important. And to enable them, we think it needs certain enablers that already carry this in these things in their belly. Finally, what is the toolbox? We would like to include enablers that comprise the following characteristics. They're open source. They're mapped to the framework of digital food system. They are focused on the three key use cases that we have in the project, and they're adhering to the digital responsibility goals framework. And it's already a first soft launch of the toolbox has already happened. So I'm happy to show this to you just real quick. This is what it looks like, the first iteration of the toolbox. The idea is that you can, for example, this is the category food. Then you have one of the use cases here. And then we have, for example, FNS Cloud is one of the enablers we see. And it's listed here together with all the information on where to find it. So that's the idea of the toolbox. Feel free to have a more in-depth look at it. Same holds with DRGs. We have the DRGs, the digital responsibility goals, listed on the left-hand side. And then there are some tools like a UX checklist that we recommend to use. Now, back to the presentation. Let's wrap it up. Who are DRG4Food? Who are we? So this just so you know who to speak to and contact us at any time, of course. This is the consortium that we have with Innocence. Maja is with Innocence, who just invited. And there's a few other partners that are working together to enable DRG4Food. And those will also be the partners you will see once you get onto the open call, because there's also a coaching and supporting network that we establish to help you go through the open calls with the right focus, hopefully by learning a lot together with us and driving it towards success. And last but not least, our values, and please hold us accountable to them. We are 100% for transparency, respect. We'd like to support you as you go along in the application, but also during the open call process. We try to be open and positive. And for us, it's all about trust. So you can rely on us granting you trust first, and based on that, we'll deliver true and lasting impact. Thank you very much. That is DRG4Food. There will now be deep dives on the digital responsibility goals as such, and also on the open calls. And we're hoping for quite some applications from your end. As said, if there's anything you need our support with, please feel free to reach out, and we'll be happy to support as we go along, starting with the application point. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kai. And now we will listen a bit about the concept of digital responsibility from our partner, project partner, Ferdinand Ferroli. Ferdinand, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I already apologize that I have a bit of a cold, but I hope you can hear me. So, okay. Are you seeing the presentation?
Not yet.
Okay. Give me a second. Okay. Okay, now you should see something.
Yes, now we can see it.
Perfect. Okay. So we have already heard a lot about digital responsibility, and I will get to the digital responsibility goals in a minute. But maybe before that, let me start and define or encircle a little bit what we mean by digital responsibility or responsible technology. Yeah, in a nutshell, it's digital technology we can trust. So to define that, we can better look at the other side. What is digital technology that we can trust? Because this is something that is more prevalent in these days. Basically, if you look into the last, I don't know, 15, 20 years, this is always pretty much the same outcome. People are quite worried about their data privacy or cybersecurity when they're using digital technology. This is not because they're paranoid. This is because there have been, as you probably know, a lot of scandals, breaches, or other negative consequences coming from digital technology. To make it a bit more specific, I picked out the food sector because this is where we're hoping for you to develop new things. This is just a random Google search. There was really 2 minutes of work, and I pulled up some examples of a wellness chatbot that was spewing out harmful messages. There were, of course, a massive amount of personal data grabbed by recipe apps, supermarket AI meal planner, giving recipes for basically toxic stuff. So as you can see, a lot of this ecosystem is also dominated by applications and software that are not very safe, not very much thought through, and crucially, not very much tailored to the user, I would say. And if you think a bit ahead, this is only going to get worse because these technologies are getting more and more into our private lives. They're going more and more into crucial decision-making situations of our lives. So we better make sure now that we're trying to have a paradigm shift into digital technologies that are at least adhering to basically digital responsibility in a way that the human is at the center and negative consequences are minimized. We very well know that innovation needs some wiggle room. Of course, mistakes happen, but if you don't go into the development process with the outset to say, I want this application to be the perfect it can be for the consumer, then there's something wrong, and that's what we're seeing right now. At least this is like engraved in the mission of DRG4FOOD. Yeah, how did we get here? This is going a bit into the analysis why this happened or why this is still not resolved. So on the one side, on the side of the developers and the providers of technology, so I would say also software developers, if some are here, there's a bit of a lack of orientation. So there's so much to consider. You don't have the time or maybe experience to really tick all the boxes to make this more human-centered, more responsible technology. So there's a lack of orientation on this side. On the side of the users, they're basically overwhelmed by the multitude of apps with no way to differentiate between a trustworthy or not so trustworthy application. So we as partner at DRG4FOOD, we thought, how can we guide those developers and into the right direction? How can we empower people to see which technologies are built responsibly and which are not so much? So it boils down to providing guidance and reducing the complexity. Then we have a prominent example that does that. These are the Sustainable Development Goals by the United Nations. You probably have seen them. These are 70 goals that try to really easily break down the huge challenge that is the climate and sustainability challenge, and to try to make it easy to grasp. So even a 5-year-old child can see, okay, goal number 6 means clean water and sanitation. You need to save water to make something good for the climate or for sustainability. But this did not exist for the digital transformation. So that's what we contributed. These are the 7 digital responsibility goals. It's basically 7 dimensions of the digital world where we think there needs to be change to make it better. As you can see, it's very placative. It's very top level. So there's digital literacy, cybersecurity, privacy, data fairness, trustworthy algorithms, transparency, human agency, and identity. As such, they stand as a bit of orientation. But of course, as a software developer, you cannot look at data fairness and see what you have to do. That's why we have also guiding criteria that tell you a bit more concretely how you should act or how your application should look like to be more digitally responsible. You can all look this up on a web page if you're interested more in depth. But this is a bit now a bit dense for the presentation. But how we took those guiding criteria and we put it into basically the open call structure. Maja will tell you all about it. I will just highlight these specific requirements that are connected to the DRG. So you need to have fulfill some requirements to make this basically a digitally responsible basically digital solution in the end. Because this is what sets us apart from all the other regular software development, incubators. In the end, there should be a noticeable difference between the solution that you provide and any other that was just basically, copy and pasted together by a quickly delivering other software development team. So we ask you in the call to give us some explanations. Don't be overwhelmed by this. You can how you're going to implement it in the end. This will be also, you will be helped by us, but you need to have some ideas what you want to basically do in terms of digital responsibility. And in the end, what we want to see is basically any of those, or for the first calls, we want to see enablers, enabling those kind of food sector tools that are infused with the DRGs, and that means that they're more digitally responsible and more beneficial to society than others. So if this is not a goal for you in itself that attracts you, there's more in it for you. Firstly, I have to say, of course, it might benefit your companies because responsible technology is on the rise. There is a big MIT Technology Review survey that asked executives of really, really big firms how they see the trajectory of responsible technology, and 73% agree that this is going to come up soon. So we're a bit behind the green technology wave, but this is something that will be crucial in the future. So if you're joining us on DRG4Food, I think this will be beneficial for your skill set in the future. And also not bad, we can see also a big study, the Edelman Trust Barometer, or a big survey. If people trust technology less, they will use it less. So in reverse, you could say, if you build more trustworthy technology, more people will use your technology, which in itself is something that makes business sense, I guess. So this was a crash course. Thank you for your attention. I'm very happy to connect on LinkedIn and answer further questions on this. And of course, I'm happy to work with you if you apply and are the lucky winners to work with us in the future. So thank you.
Thank you, Ferdinand, and thank you, Kai. And now we will present the open call structure, the eligibility criteria, and later on I will answer the questions that you are posting now in the Q&A section. Give me just a second for me to share my screen, and then we will start. Okay, can you see my screen? I guess yes. You all heard about the DRG4Food project from Kai. You heard about the concept of digital responsibility goals from Ferdinand. And now let's deep dive into the open call. Our first open call is here to support data-driven technology enablers for the food sector. The goal, when we say responsible, we mean safeguarding data rights, cautious of the data and ethics requirements. This is why we are launching the open calls to push the development of such responsible technology enablers, of course, in line with our concept of digital responsibility goals. The focus is on the three main domains of the food sector that we have selected for this first open call, and those are food tracking, targeted nutrition, and consumers' food choices. In total, we will offer the budget for this first open call is 950,000 euros, whereas the maximum funding per each project ranges between 150 to 300,000 euros. What do we offer? Apart from materials, guidance, and tools to support your responsible technology development, we also offer you access to our toolbox, where you will be able to find a range of open source tools to help you in your development process. We will also have a fully tailored program to support you in respect with the business development and investment readiness and investment relations. And we also open the wider doors to the whole European-wide network of relevant partners, potential customers, and all those important entities that will help you in scaling up of your solution. Who is it for? The call is open to a small consortium. This means that you cannot apply as a single entity or as a single natural person. You have to come in front of an organization and partner up with at least one or two more organizations from European Union or Horizon Europe associated countries. Now, regarding the structure of your consortium, who can, how should it be comprised? It can be either a combination of a startup and a research entity, or a small and medium enterprise and a research entity. So this is a minimum requirement. And then additionally, you can engage a technology adopter or an end user organization who could help you out in the validation of your solution. For us, it doesn't matter. There is no particular criterion or a rule that says that you have to have an SME or a research entity as a coordinator. No, this is not the case in our open call. So either an SME or the research organization can be the official coordinator. And if you don't wish, for whatever reason, to include an end user, then you can optionally include another either SME or a research entity to help you in the different aspects of your technological development. So the important aspect to remember is that you have to apply as a consortium, a small consortium from 2 to 3 partners. And you can all be, your partners can all come from the same country, as long as you can demonstrate in your proposal part B that you can really achieve a wider impact on an EU or a global level. So this is another important thing to note. The maximum budget that you can request ranges between 150 and 300,000 euros. This is 100% funding, meaning that the budget that you request will be fully funded by through our first open call. The minimum technology readiness level at the time of proposal submission, meaning December 11, should be 4 or 5. And then in your application, you have to demonstrate that you will be able to advance to technology readiness level of 7. We have 4 evaluation criteria, main evaluation criteria, that are basically to double check your technological excellence and level of innovation. So to learn how innovative you are and how you position yourself amongst your potential competitors. The second one is related to data responsibility, transparency of the data, and the overall alignment with digital responsibility goals. Don't be frightened by this particular criterion, as this is actually a set of really short straightforward questions. For example, where you need to reply to us whether one of your partners or individual team members have experience with, for example, cybersecurity. So these kind of questions is what you can find in this particular evaluation criterion. And then the third one is related to the overall viability of your proposed solution, its scalability potential, and the wider impact that you can achieve either on the economic, environmental, or social level. The last criterion that we will evaluate your proposals is related to the overall consortium structure, the qualifications of individual members of the organizations involved in your consortium, and how you have actually aligned and allocated resources in terms of budget, in terms of time, and in terms of people working on this project. Now, when it comes to the technologies that are in focus, what you see on the right side of the screen is only a tentative initial list. For the full overview, please double check our open call documentation. But basically, we are looking for decentralized identities, verifiable credentials, blockchain and other DLTs, responsible AI methods, and so on. But please double check the full list of technologies and feel free to propose any other baseline technology that could fit into our that could respond to the challenges in our challenge areas. Regarding the timeline, the proposal submission is now ongoing, and from October 11 until 11th of December. This is the ultimate deadline. There will be no further extensions of the deadline. So please make sure to submit your proposals on time. You have just enough time to open the submission system and work on your application and actually submit. So the main submission system is the F6S platform. If you go to the to our website, the open calls page, the first button that you see is the link to F6S. So please start your application as soon as possible and double check that you can actually upload all the necessary documentation. So please, it is really advisable to start your application in advance, and then through as the time goes, you just upload the necessary documents. Regarding the necessary documents, they can all be found on our Open Calls page. The first one is in Annex B, the proposal template. This is where you will actually be responding to the main questions that respond to that align with our evaluation criteria. There is a page limit, no more than 12 pages for the main sections. The one section that does not go into this page limit is the ethics requirement. But all other in between can, should, and will go into the page limit. Please respect this one. There is another document that only SMEs in the consortium should fill in and upload to the platform. And this is the SME declaration. Please download the declaration, fill in the missing parts, and again upload on F6S. Then there is another annex that all consortium members must complete individually. This is the declaration of honor. So this is basically your commitment on individual level, that you on individual organizational level, that you agree on the terms and conditions of the open call. And then the last annex, the third annex, is actually the consortium declaration of honor. This is your agreement that you enter and form this consortium, and that collectively you all agree to submit the proposal together and apply for the open call. These documents, please do not wait until the very deadline to upload them on the platform. Take your time. There is just enough time to download, fill in, and sign, and then upload on the platform. Whereas the Annex B, you have, again, just enough time, but again, do not wait until the very deadline to submit the application. Once the deadline passes, your proposals will undergo an eligibility check to double check whether all the preconditions are fulfilled. For example, whether your consortium partners come from an eligible country, or whether your consortium partners are comprised from eligible types of entities. So these kind of eligibility checks we will be undergoing in December, and then during January and February, there will be a remote evaluation where each proposal will be evaluated by at least two experts. One expert is coming from inside the consortium, and there will be another external evaluator who will be reviewing your proposals based on the four evaluation criteria. The actual project should start in March 2024. And then what I will explain now is basically the three-step program that you will all enter. The first phase is the actual planning of your project. This is the shortest phase, 1 month duration, where you will work with our mentors and coaches to deliver a detailed pilot specification report, where you actually work on your system requirements and plan the actual development. Following the approval of this report, you will the funding of up to 30% will be of your total budget will be released. The second phase is the actual innovation research and development piloting, where duration varies between 3 and 8 months. It is at the proposal stage where you define your project duration. In the second phase, you're working on your technical development and testing and piloting, getting feedback from potential end users. Up to 50% of the budget is released at the end of this stage and following the approval of your second report. The third phase is related to your sustainability and viability of your solutions. It lasts between 1 and 3 months, and the final payment is released to you after the delivery of your value model, basically the business plan at the end of this phase. What's important to say is that all along the process, the project, you will receive tailored support from our partners. You will be assigned at least one coach with more technical background and another one with a more business background, with bi-weekly checks on your progress. This is to ensure that you are on track and that you have all the support you need to minimize any risks that may come up during the development phase. Along the way, we have also prepared a set of webinars on different topics, both technological and business related. But we will not bother you too much along the way. The goal is really for you to focus on the most meaningful things that you identify as your basically pain points, and then we give the right support to you. In case you're thinking of applying, but you find it difficult to find potential partners, then we have a potential option for you, and this is our matchmaking service. If you visit this particular link on F6S, and also in the documentation you will find this link, you can it's really a 5 minutes request form that only requires you to fill in the basic details on what do you offer and what kind of partners are you looking for. And then based on the current pool of potential entities, we will bring you in contact with the potential match so that you can apply jointly for the open call. So far, we had a couple of successful matches that we know for sure that will be applying for the open call. How to apply? Application is mandatory and only possible through the F6S platform. So I will be sharing this presentation after the end, but in any case, the link and the link to F6S and all the mandatory documents are available on our open calls page. The mandatory documents are, as I said, a technical proposal template, which must be submitted, uploaded through the F6S platform. Then the applicant declaration of honor. The declaration is on individual organization level, meaning that all consortium partners need to sign on this declaration. And then the consortium declaration of honor, as I said, this is a collective agreement that your individual partners are willing to enter the consortium and submit the application form. And then the SME declaration is only mandatory for SME partners. Please double check, download the documents all ready and start completing them, and you may already upload them to F6S even before your technical proposal is basically ready. Once again, let us summarize the whole timeline. Applications are open until 11th of December. In order to apply, you have to have at least 2 or a maximum 3 partners in the consortium. We are looking for data-driven digital solutions that respect data ethics in 3 targeted sectors: food tracking, targeted nutrition, and consumer food choices. And the minimum technology readiness level that we are looking for is 4 at the time of your proposal submission. Important links are here, but please visit DRG4FOOD.eu/open calls. There you will be able to start the application process, to click to the link that leads you to the F6S platform, and also to download all necessary documents. The most important is the guidelines for applicants, where you will find all the necessary details regarding your potential participation in this open call. For any questions or submission issues, you can post them on F6S or email us at opencalls@drg4food.eu. And of course, the matchmaking is available in case you need help in finding suitable partners. This is all from my side for today. Let us now double check the questions that we have in the Q&A form, and there are many of them. So regarding the links on the DRG4Food Open Calls page, it seems there's an issue. We are looking into it. Sorry for this, but if you click on the actual text part of the link, it's working. Does the submission system support images and tables? No, the submission system only supports the upload of PDF files, and those are technical proposal template, Annex B, and the necessary 3 declarations. Please open the F6S platform and start the submission as soon as possible, so that you can actually have a clear overview of what are you required to actually upload on the platform. From Ernest, who is going to be, who is going to be the actual IP owner by the end of the project? Can the technologies developed within the project be used commercially by the startup that developed them? The IP ownership remains solely on you. When I say you, I mean consortium partners that developed the solution or part of the solution. So IP will be agreed at the time of negotiation and contracting. And along your project, you will be receiving careful and really tailored support in order to identify any potential issues that may arise during your development. But again, DRG4Food nor its partners take any equity or ownership over your solutions. It remains solely on you, and yes, you can use them commercially after your project. Can an entity be part of more than one proposals? Same question applies for individuals. Can they be involved with 2 proposals? One where they are employed, one where they are consortium leader. The answer is no. We don't accept multiple submissions, nor on individual or organizational level. This is to ensure that we have full commitment and as diverse applications and projects as possible. So please be fully committed in case you're considering to apply to only one proposal and only one consortium. Stepan, yes, it seems the case that the link here, the textual parts of the links is working. We will double check where is the issue exactly. Let me double check. A software license is considered direct or indirect cost. I believe it is among, it is for sure eligible costs, but I will have to double check. I believe it is direct, but I can come back to you. Luca, please leave me your email and I will reply through our email. In any case, it is eligible, and the full list of eligible costs can be found in our guidelines for applicants. Okay. The FAQ in your webpage says if consortium has digital solution from areas, food tracking, targeted nutrition, and consumer food choices, such solution should be applied to second open call. This is for sure a huge mistake. Sorry for this. These are precisely our areas from our challenge areas in our open call number 1. Please, the only main information channel is the guidelines for applicants and the webinars that we are delivering in this open call process. Then big-sized enterprises can participate from Luca. No, we only accept entities that fit into the SME definition and fulfill the SME definition requirements and RTOs. Mid-sized or big-sized enterprises that are out of this SME definition cannot participate. Could be from an anonymous attendee. Could it be 2 startups partnering or 1 startup and 1 end customer organization? No. You have to have at least 1 RTO. So the minimum is startup plus RTO plus end user, or SME plus RTO plus end user. You cannot have 2 startups or 2 SMEs without an RTO. Okay, let us go to the next one. Do we need to provide the evidence of the current TRL and how? There are particular questions in part B, in the Annex B proposal template that are actually directed to you to explain what is your current TRL and where you will have to basically prove either through some past activities or similar that you're actually on the right technology readiness level. Sorry. How can we find a partner for consortium? If you do not have an entity at the time being, feel free to contact us through our email. We will send you a link to the matchmaking form, or you can fill in the matchmaking form on your own. The link is available on the very last page of our guidelines for applicants. So fill in the matchmaking form. It only takes 2 to 5 minutes maximum, and we will reach out to you with some potential matches. We only select and can recommend those partners those partners that actually submitted a similar request. So there are many questions. I have to go back and down. Give me just a second. Sorry. If a TRL of level 4 to 5 is expected, it means it is expected that submitted projects have working demo. No, it is expected. Sorry. It is expected that you are. Sorry, I have to turn on my battery. It is expected that you are about to start or have already started looking to start demonstration activities. Hope this helps. Another one. Can we receive the eligibility check before the deadline? Unfortunately, no. We are not allowed to give any advice, feedback on your consortia or proposals before the actual deadline. So this is the process. These are the rules of the game. You can only submit the application, and then the results of the eligibility will come out at the beginning of January. Will the main goal be to develop technology readiness level, test, and provide a new tool to the DRG toolbox or a set of tools? Yes. So along the way, you will be able to basically use the solutions that are offered through the toolbox, but you will also be expected to contribute with your solutions or a set of solutions that you have developed. When we say contribute, it means upload, just like you upload links to GitHub or similar platforms. So the toolbox is there to help you be more visible in other developer communities and to increase your reach, further reach. Again, we don't take any equity in your solutions, or is our goal to be owners of your solutions. The main and ultimate purpose of the toolbox is to help you be more visible and access to a wider community of other developers that could make use of your solutions, of course, according to different licenses and licensing options. Again, all these licensing options will be developed, negotiated during your project development phases, and again, you remain fully in control of your solutions. Do we need official proof of the current TRL level, or is self-assessment sufficient? The self-assessment is sufficient. So as I said, you will have just enough space in your Annex B to actually describe how you came to this particular level. You say that one of the requirements is to prove that no relation prior to the pilot has taken place between the partners, but how do you expect to establish in 6-month time a trust environment with a partner that you've never worked with? I'm not sure where have you read that no relation prior to the pilot has taken place. When we say between partners, we mean between DRG4Food project partners and potential applicants. This is the only no prior relation is allowed rule. However, you are free to propose a consortium and enter into the consortium with trusted entities that you have actually worked before, as long as they are not partners, official consortium partners of the DRG4Food project. Next one, let me go back. There were not a link to, again, another question, and then my box goes down. Sorry, maybe I misread. I guess you meant that there were not a link to one of the DRG4Food European project. I'm not sure I understood the question. Can you please maybe type again? If this is the same as what I said just before, yes, you cannot have any legal link with the individual partners of the DRG4Food project. So if you wish to apply, it has to be your organization plus one or two more organizations that are not already part of our project that is funding your projects. Do we have any criteria for user testing partners? Again, there is a list of organizations that may qualify regarding the legal status of them. It can be another SME, it can be an NGO, a consumer association, or a similar entity. I seem to have missed the details in the budget. What percent are indirect costs and what should be considered other direct costs? The full list of eligible costs is the usual list that we can all see in typical Horizon Europe projects. You can find it in our guidelines for applicants under the chapter on financial eligibility. The only rule is that there is no subcontracting, so you're not allowed to have subcontractors. All the main work in your project should be delivered by your consortium partners. And yes, the next question, can we use subcontractors if some of the technology aspects out of our consortium scope? For example, data warehouse building and hosting. No, you cannot have any external especially with respect to such important aspect as digital responsibility and data ethics and privacy. The main part of your work should come from your consortium partners. My organization has more than 5,000 researchers. How do I ensure I am the only one applying? The only exception to the rule of no double applications are research organizations. Meaning that if you have indeed such a huge research entity, then you can only ensure that no other members of your own department are also applying. As long as you have different departments applying, this is fine. Another one, sorry. Where are you reading the question from? From the Q&A box. When can we expect more information about the call 2? The second call is planned to launch in April or May next year, and we will announce all the details well in advance, just like we did with this first open call. If some of you may remember, we also have some promo activities in spring and also during summer before the actual open call started. However, now it is really too soon to talk about the second open call when we are fully focused on the first one. Could you explain how the toolbox will be used? Is it obligatory or just a recommendation? It is indeed obligatory. Maybe my partners Kai and Ferdinand, if they are still here, can jump in. Kai?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the question. So the way it will be used, I think Maja already explained just a little bit, just like you upload open source documentation and code and everything on, for example, GitHub. What the tool does is more curated, being one-stop shop curated for these enablers. So what we would do is to link to that GitHub page, for example, and also provide some further information just to have it classified a little bit. So that's the expectation. And yes, we require enablers and participants of open calls to be listed in the toolbox. But this is one thing we do together with you. So not a lot of work on your end, more on our end, and it's more about visibility and having everything in one place. That's what it is. But no duplication whatsoever, because anyways, you will have a GitHub repository at some point in time, or any comparable page, of course.
Thank you, Kai. Then another question, it says, can it be 2 SMEs plus an RTO? Yes, it can be 2 SMEs plus an RTO. And then how do you define an RTO? Each country has its own definitions on how the RTO is structured and set up. So please double check whether the research entity is actually considered a research entity in your own country. And then during the eligibility check, we will double check whether this is actually the case and whether you have the supporting documentation to prove. Then can we use matchmaking event to potentially allocate end user? Unfortunately, the no matchmaking events like webinars are planned for the time being. We had one event early in October. Maybe the webinar recording could help you find potential end users. However, you're free to use the matchmaking service and the F6S application form. We will get back to you in due time, quite promptly, I promise, with some potential end users or whoever you're looking for your project. So the 2 open calls can have different application requirements. Do the calls build upon one another, or do they have completely different scopes? Basically, both yes and no. The target challenge areas will for sure be a bit different. So we have 3 challenge areas for the first open call. We expect to have another set of 3 challenge areas different to the first one in the second open call. Do the calls build upon one another, or do they have completely different scope? Regarding the scope, I just answered. So we do expect different challenge thematic areas. Also, with respect to the technology readiness levels, for the second open call, the TRL will be a bit higher than the first one. As in the first one, we are looking for enablers rather than solutions. In the second open call, it will be the call will be more solution and market focus than now in the first one. Are all the solutions required to be open source, or is proprietary software allowed in the toolbox? Again, Kai, I would appreciate some help here. So the question is, are all the solutions required to be open source, or is proprietary software allowed in the toolbox? Kai?
So we're looking at open source, but as you said, there's of course, I mean, that open source is a broad definition, so there's different licenses, of course, license models. That's something that we prepare in the process as we prepare for the open call. So that being said, there's not one single license. We have also, there's a bit of leeway, and we see some solutions that have some proprietary parts and some open source parts, but having none at all, being fully proprietary, that is not what we're looking for at this point in time. But I hope that suffices. But just saying, is it open source cannot be answered with yes or no, but we do want to see, and that is part of the DRGs, the digital responsibility goals, also some level of openness and transparency, because we think that's an approach that is worthwhile going, meaning we are looking for this, yes.
Thank you, Kai. And then when is the second open call? The second one is launching in spring next year. It will be either April or May. from Gustavo, do we need official proof of the current URL, or is self-assessment sufficient? I think I already answered this one. Self-assessment is sufficient. You will have just enough space in the Annex B proposal template to explain how did you achieve this current technology readiness level. Do we provide a set of tools here in our application, or just one? Please, just one. I cannot upload the guidelines for applicants. The link is to the main site, but downloads from here is not available. Actually, they are. If you click on the actual textual part, I think the icons are not working. We will fix them immediately after the meeting. You can download the guidelines and all the official documents from the main site, DRG4FOOD.eu/open calls, and then click on the hyperlinks, not the icons. Can we hire one or two external programmers ad hoc for the pilot, right? Contracted, not subcontracted. Yes, no subcontracting is allowed, but you can hire as many people as you need. What are the differences in the content of proposals expected between call 1 and 2? It's a bit too early, but we do not expect any major differences in the content of the proposal. So if the end question is whether you will be able to submit in call 2, if you don't get into the open call 1, the question is yes. You can. We don't expect any major differences, maybe some slight modifications, but no major differences in the actual Part B proposal template are expected for the second open call. Then shall we upload the regular consortium agreement, or a letter of intent is enough? Letter of intent is not enough, and you will not, please, really, this is important, double check, download our official documents. These are the only agreements, declarations that we will be considering during the eligibility checks. If you upload any provisional on your own template of a letter of intent or a consortium agreement that is not our official document, you will not pass the eligibility check. So please only use the official templates that we have provided on the open call page. This was the last question for today. Let us give up a couple of seconds for anyone if there are some more questions coming. If not, then once again, I would like to repeat, thank you for considering DRG4FOOD open call, and we promise it will be really productive acceleration program for you in case you get selected. Please do not wait until the deadline to submit your application. Feel free to already start the application on F6S. You can only just click on the link that is on our open calls page, and it will get you to the F6S platform. Start the application, double check what are the actual questions, and start uploading again only official mandatory documents that you can download from our website. Again, thank you for your time today, and in case of any additional questions, feel free to send them either via F6S or through our official email, opencalls@drg4food.eu. We are responding in less than a day. It usually takes us only a couple of hours. Again, we are looking forward to seeing your applications, to welcoming you in the project, and in case of any questions, feel free to send us an email. We will try to sort it out as quick as possible. Thank you. Goodbye.